What's up, good people? We're about 24 hours away now from kickoff in Santa Clara, and it's time for the final preview. It's time to put together everything that we've learned over this week into one preview video, talk about this game, talk about what we got to do, talk about what the Niners are going to try to do, and talk about what we can expect. So, it's going to be hard to completely put a game preview together for me because to me the thing that is going to swing this game is up in the air. The thing that is going to swing this game we don't know about, and we may not know until a couple hours before kickoff. So I'll say that right now. I can talk about all the aspects to this game for as long as I need to sitting here, but at the end of the day, I feel like the thing that is going to swing this game is going to be determined a couple hours ahead. So with that being said, let's figure this one out. The 49ers. What can we say about them? Well, they got off to a bad start, lost a game to the Bears that they theoretically had no business losing. The Bears figured to be one of the worst teams in the league this year. There were extenuating circumstances with that rainstorm, the monsoon, so I would not judge them purely based off that game. But nevertheless, that is a game that, as a Niners fan, you're looking at and going, that is one of your free wins this year, and you lost it. So that leaves you in a situation where, in what is probably going to be still a difficult division, even though maybe it was a little overrated before the season started, it puts you behind the eight ball. It puts you in a situation where you're looking at that game in November and December and wishing you had it back. And in general, let me say this 49ers team, they lost to the Bears. Next week, they go to Denver to play the Broncos. And we know what Denver does with their September home games. They win them. They could be a terrible team. They could have a terrible roster. They're still winning those home games in September. And the 49ers, with their ultra young quarterback and with some of the issues that they're having, are not likely to be a team to undo that trend. So the 49ers, if they lose this game, are staring 0-3 right in the face. So you are going to get their best swing coming off that embarrassing loss last week to the Bears, and yeah. That being said, their best swing may not be as good as it usually is. If you look at the 49ers on offense, they've got that super young quarterback, like I said, and I think he's going to be good one day, but as of right now, he's kind of being used in the way that you would see a unprepared quarterback with mobility being used. They do a lot of simple stuff with him. They do a lot of stuff where he just takes off and runs. They do a lot of stuff where he just tries to find a little hole and gain a couple of yards. They keep things simple for him. They don't want to have him read an entire defense. They don't want to have him make difficult decisions. They keep things simplistic for him. Now, as the year goes on, that may change. As the year goes on, he may start to show the ability to be a NFL quarterback more, but as of right now, I'm looking at a guy who has real limitations. He has real limitations in how he can run that Niners offense. So that is a limiting factor. And when you look at their backfield, their running back room is a mess right now. No Elijah Mitchell, and Jeff Wilson Jr. has looked washed up according to everyone I've spoken to in recent times. So that leaves them with complete unknowns. It leaves them with rookies. It leaves them with guys they just picked up like Marlon Mack. Yeah, Marlon Mack, who I don't even know if they're going to promote to the roster today or tomorrow. But regardless, their backfield has problems. And if you looked at the way the Seahawks played against the Broncos last week, they struggled a little bit against the run, especially running outside, and that is what the Niners love to do. They love to run the ball to the boundaries. They love that outside zone running stuff. And you have to ask yourself, are the Niners going to be able to take advantage of that possible weakness? If the Seahawks continue to struggle to handle that stuff, are the Niners going to be able to take advantage? With the backfield personnel that they have, it may not be something that they exploit as much as they usually do. A Niners team with healthy running backs might be able to pile up 200 plus rushing yards the way the Seahawks were playing the run last week. But with the backfield that they have right now, it could be a weakness on weakness where the Niners want to take advantage of that, but they can't because they just don't have the backs to do it. So I'm interested to see who they play, and I'm interested to see how they play. As of right now, I don't feel too bad. And the other issue with that offense is the interior offensive line. Brunskill is out. They lost Alex Mack to a retirement. And as a whole, you would say that guard center guard combo is weak. They have real issues up front, and having Shelby Harris in this game is big. Having your full fleet of defensive linemen in this game is a big deal. So I look for those guys to do damage. Poona Ford, Al Woods, Brian Monet, like I said, Shelby Harris, throw a little bit of Quentin Jefferson in the mix. You should be able to cause havoc in the middle. They have their tackles, McGlinchey, and of course Trent Williams. Trent Williams might be one of the best he is one of the best in the business. He might be the best in the business. But the interior of that offensive line right now, big question mark. That's where you can take advantage as a defense. They do have their wide receivers, but they don't have great wide receiver depth even in the best of times. Debo's great. Ayuk is good. And then, right? Not a lot to talk about in terms of guys that intimidate you. Guys who can make some plays. Guys who have played in the NFL before. Guys who do stuff. But I would say that you're looking at that receiver core and you're going, okay, they're top heavy. And that leaves us with the big question mark. George Kittle, is he going to play or not? If George Kittle plays, that helps their blocking, that helps their pass protection, that helps their run game. That's very impactful. That helps their ability to spread the ball out. That helps their ability to run two tight end sets, which mitigates their lack of receiver depth. That helps their ability to give Trey Lance another target when, quite frankly, he needs all the help he can get. And tight ends tend to be good safety blankets for young quarterbacks. So as of right now, Kittle could go one way or the other. If he plays, I think that opens up the Niners offense a little bit, makes things a little cleaner for them, is going to reduce the mistakes that offense makes, and give them, even in what is supposed to be rainy conditions, which probably does not play to their advantage, the ability to put up at least a few points. If Kittle does not play, the effect on that offense, I think, is going to be dramatic, and that opens up some opportunities for this Seahawks team to find a way to win a very low-scoring game. So I'm going to say that right now. If Kittle plays, I do like the Niners to win. If Kittle doesn't play, give me the Seahawks in a low-scoring game. And low scoring is the key word here because the Seahawks offense, they've got some reinforcements. They've got some stuff to work with here that is good. Getting Damian Lewis back and getting Ken Walker back, significant. I'm happy those guys are here. But that Niners defense with Bosa and Fred Warner and Armstead, they've got some real problem creators up there. And having Bosa going up against a rookie, I know he's a good rookie, and I know he played pretty well last week. But my first priority on offense is definitely thinking about how can I help Cross out a little bit. Because Cross, if you leave him one-on-one against Bosa the whole game, or Lucas, if Bosa moves around, whoever it is, it's probably going to not be good. And while I respect the notion of putting Cross and Lucas on islands and just telling them to go do the best that they can. Maybe it helps their development. I don't see how it helps them to be one-on-one with an all-world player. So, unlike what we did last week, you might have to throw a little bit of help Cross's way and Lucas's way if they're up against that guy. But it's a good defense. Last week they gave up 2 long passes to the Bears, and that basically made all the difference. But you have to look at that game as kind of an aberration because of the monsoon. It's a defense that survived a bunch of injuries last year to be really, really good. They lost their defensive coordinator and managed to keep up a high level of play. So you got to say this is going to be a difficult game for this Seahawks offense. Even if they play well, its points are going to be hard to come by. You're going to have to find a way to run the ball effectively. And in fairness, I think that the inside of the defensive line of the 49ers is something that you might be able to take advantage of a little bit. Javon Kinlaw hasn't really done anything in the NFL yet. You've got Damian Lewis back, so you should be able to make some hay with the running game, both to the inside and the outside. The outside because that's what your personnel is trying to move towards, and the inside because I'm looking at the inside of that Niners defense and going, I think you can pound the ball a little bit on these guys. So I'm looking for Rashad Penny and Kenneth Walker to do some damage. I'm looking to see an improvement on what we saw from the running game against the Broncos, which wasn't bad, but I'm looking for them to show something even beyond that. And in a what is likely to be bad weather, like I said, you're going to have to run the ball. I don't know how Geno plays in the rain, but I'd prefer to not see it that much. But that being said, after the way Geno played last week against the Broncos, you don't want to count him out. Last week, I think the Broncos came into that game thinking we were going to run the ball a bunch, and they were wrong. And it really came back to great effect in that first half. That first half, we had 17 points, mostly on the back of Geno, and it was kind of a fluke we didn't have 24. But then you saw those halftime adjustments come out, and we couldn't score in that second half at all. 0 points. So you're looking at this game. You're getting your starting guard back. You're getting your backup running back back. And you know that the Niners are looking at this game thinking, okay, if the conditions are not good, and given all these things about the Seahawks roster, you would expect them to run the ball. So if you got to come out and throw the Niners out of that defense, which kind of what you did last week against the Broncos, then okay, you've got good receivers, you've got good tight ends. Waldron has proven that he can call a good game. Last week, at least for the first half, I thought he called a good game. And honestly, in the second half, there was just, it was a battle of halftime adjustments, and I think the Broncos did a good job with their halftime adjustments, so I don't even think that's really a strike against the offense as much as it is credit to the Broncos defense for adjusting. But if you've got to go out there, throw the Niners out of that run stopping defense the way you did with the Broncos, then Geno has proven that he can do that. He can do that at home in decent conditions. Can he do it on the road in what is likely to be rain? I don't know. But at the end of the game, by the end of this game, either because you came out run happy or you got into a run happy mode later in the game, one way or the other, I think you're going to be running the ball a lot. And that's how you win. You find a way to run the ball effectively, keep the Niners offense on the sideline, keep your defense on the sideline, more importantly than even that. And you keep it to maybe like a 17-10 type game, either way, and you just hope you're the ones that come out on top. It's going to be tough sledding for this offense, but you've got some things you can take advantage of, like no Jimmy Ward. No Jimmy Ward's a big deal for that Niners defense, so maybe you can bust a couple big plays, which you didn't really bust against the Broncos. Maybe even in the bad conditions, you can still bust a big play here or there, so let's see it. At the end of the day, I'm going to stick to what I said earlier in this video. Kittle equals Seahawks loss. No Kittle or ineffective Kittle means Seahawks win. So, unfortunately, it's hard for me to offer up anything more definitive than that. He's just such a big deal for what that offense does. He's so important to what they do as a team on offense. And when you have a quarterback like a Trey Lance, who he's got problems. He's got issues right now that are going to take time to be worked out of his game. Having a guy like George Kittle just helps so much. And I know he's a tight end. And I know conventional wisdom is that a tight end is not going to have that drastic of an effect on your team, but Kittle really does. And I know he practiced well on Friday, so that tells me he's probably going to play. But in these conditions, you wonder how much he's going to play and how effective he's going to be. So that's kind of what I'm anticipating seeing. I want to see the Seahawks come out with a strong running game. I want to run the ball a lot. I want to get back to the offense that I was expecting to have last week. And hopefully it works better with Damian Lewis in there. I think having Damian Lewis in there is going to unlock some stuff. We don't have to deal with DJ Jones anymore. And some people have pointed out that DJ Jones was actually a big problem for our running game last week when he was a Bronco. So at least we don't have to deal with him this week. So yeah, I'm interested to see what happens, but to me the game swings on that crucial injury on the Niners offense. That's the best I can say. If Kittle is out or Kittle is ineffective, Seahawks win. I'm going to say like 13-10. If Kittle is in, then I'm going to say we lose like 17-13, something like that. I think Kittle makes like a touchdown difference, and it makes all the difference in a game like this. All right, I should be on Twitch pretty soon here. I should be logging in on Twitch fairly soon. Going to do Soul Hackers for a few hours, watching some college games, and then we're going to swing on over to the Huskies game, 4:30-ish, and hope to see you guys there. But until then, go Hawks, and hey, this is how you get on the right track to having a better season than people are anticipating. Find a way to win this game. You're playing a team that is still kind of in a transitionary period with this new quarterback, with some of the injuries they have. Find a way to beat a team that is probably still a little better than you. Find a way to ugly up the game, and you can find yourself in a situation where you could have a surprisingly good year. All right, see you guys later. Go Hawks. Let's see what they got.